Hi, everyone. My name is Avery, and as Haley mentioned, I'm the sexual assault advocate for Quigley House. Quigley House is a comprehensive domestic violence and sexual assault center, which means we have advocates trained in both areas of trauma. And that's important because there's often a lot of crossover between domestic violence and sexual violence, particularly in intimate partner relationships or in marriages. I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about that later on, but for now, I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us. I'm filling in for our director. She unfortunately is unable to come today, but I will be telling you guys a little bit about power and control. If you guys would like, you can comment in the chat box or introduce yourselves. I'd love to know more about you and what organization that you're with, or if you're a community member watching. And I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. Hi, thanks for introducing yourself, and thank you for coming out today. We're glad that you're here. I'm going to go ahead and try to share my screen. That way you guys can kind of see a little bit about what I'm talking about. Can you guys see that? Okay, great. And I do have a chat pulled up, so if you guys have any questions and you want to type them there, you can. Again, minimizing, denying, blaming, saying that something's your fault, but it's not, making you feel like something you've done or something you haven't done is the reason why they're angry or upset, making you feel like you're crazy, like your feelings aren't valid, that you're upset for no reason, that what's happening is normal, and that you're the one who just doesn't understand what's going on. Threats, so these are really the direct threats, saying that they're going to hurt you, that they're going to hurt your child, that they're going to take something away from you. A lot of times the things that we've seen at our shelter or through our hotline calls have been threats like, I'm going to take your car if you leave, or you're never going to see your kids again, or well, if you leave, then I'm going to hurt your pet. I'm going to call your job and tell everyone that you're crazy, that you're not doing a good job, those sorts of things. Threatening to show up at someone's workplace is another big one. We also have sexual coercion and rape. Again, like I said, there's a lot of crossover between domestic violence and sexual violence. Obviously, as a sexual assault advocate, I know a lot about sexual violence. A lot of people have a hard time identifying that there is marital rape or rape between intimate partners. It's really difficult sometimes when you're involved with someone intimately to be able to distinguish, where that line is between something that's healthy and consensual and where there's something that was forced or coerced. And the main thing is that abusers use those tactics. They say, oh, well, you did it last night and you liked it then, or, oh, well, I have to have this tonight, but the important thing is to kind of recognize that everyone, has the right to not want to have sex if they don't want to, even if you're in a relationship, even if you're married. Sex is something that should always be positive. That's what makes sex positive, is having the consent from both parties, having both people feel enthusiastic about participation, having both people, being able to be able to participate in sex, making sure that you're not under the influence of drugs or alcohol, making sure that you're able to consent at the time, that you're not upset about something else emotionally, or you're tired. A lot of times with marital rape, I've heard of spouses waking up to their partner raping them, and they feel like it's not rape because they're married, but it's still rape because they weren't able to consent in that moment. It's important to have, a safe, oh, it looks like we have somebody coming in. Sorry. I think Haley, did I let her in? Right? Yeah, I did. Okay. Sometimes relationships look really safe during the day, and it's healthy except for at night when you're in the bedroom, and it's important to have autonomy in a relationship, and even if you're having that autonomy during a day, it can still be abusive in the bedroom or abusive at night or abusive in whatever situation it may be when it comes to sex. Also isolation and exclusion, keeping you away from your friends, your family. It can also be excluding you from events with other people. So maybe they're going to a party and they don't want you to come because they don't want you to be there. They don't want you to have that outlet of support. They don't want you to be able to feel like you're not alone, and those kinds of things. Peer pressure, saying, oh, well, they do this, and trying to give an example of someone else's relationship and using it to try to influence your decision to do something in your relationship. Again, everyone's relationship is unique and different, so you shouldn't ever feel like you need to stay up to somebody else's standards or someone else's relationship standards. It's up to you and what you want to do and how you want to feel supported, how you want to have your relationship, what's going to make your relationship feel the healthiest. And in gaslighting, this is making you feel like you're crazy, making you feel like what you're thinking isn't real, that you're overreacting, that you don't know what's right and wrong. So everything that's happening is normal and you just don't understand that it's normal. And that can really, play into all of the other things. I think there's a lot of overlap between all of these unhealthy relationship characteristics. With threats, there's that intimidation factor. There's the blaming, it can be like, well, I'm only doing this because you did this, or I'm only gonna say this if you don't do this. So there's a lot of overlap between the different characteristics. And then with healthy relationships, sorry, someone else coming in. Thank you to everyone that's joining us now. I believe this is recorded, so it will be on our website later on, or our social medias if anyone wants to go back and watch this. Healthy relationship characteristics, non-threatening behavior. That one might seem kind of obvious, but when you've been in abusive relationships, it can be really hard to distinguish, what's going to be safe and what's going to be healthy when you're starting out in a new relationship and you've gotten out of one that's filled with violence and filled with threatening behaviors. It can be really hard to feel safe when you're first starting those relationships. And if you know someone who's going through that, you can always refer them to our hotline. Our phone number is 904-284-0061, and it'll be at the end of this presentation as well, and on our website, of course. And, sometimes it's really hard to identify those things. So talking those things through with somebody else, especially through an advocate, can really help people identify, what's safe in their new relationship, what makes it different than their past relationship. And having that knowledge can provide a sense of security to the survivor so that they can continue to form those healthy relationships throughout their life, whether it be romantically or through a friendship or a working relationship. Because all of these unhealthy and healthy behaviors fall into all areas of our life, just not just those that are with an intimate partner. Mutual respect, making sure that you guys both feel heard, that you both are able to express your opinions in a safe and supportive manner. Even if you disagree, showing each other that you're able to listen and not try to minimize their opinions. Trust and support, trusting each other to be able to go out with friends or, sorry, I think I'm getting in someone else. But having those relationships with other people and being able to go places by yourself, and not have your spouse or partner worry about where you're at or what you're doing. Being able to have friends sometimes with like the opposite gender, and them being okay with it and knowing that you're not cheating on them. Having that trust that, you're being respectful towards your relationship, but you're also allowed to have friends and you're allowed to do things independently and on your own. Honesty and accountability, that really goes with the trust and support. In order to have that trust and build it, you have to be honest. You have to hold each other accountable to your actions and to your words. If you say you're going to do something and follow through on it, and if not, then, express why, because everyone goes through different struggles. Sometimes it's not always possible to do the things that you originally planned on doing, but being able to communicate those things, communicate your needs, that's a really big part of being honest. Everyone makes mistakes in relationships. I know I make mistakes in my day-to-day life constantly, but being able to be accountable to your own actions, and express those things to someone else is a really big thing. And it's hard. It's not always easy to say, I made this mistake and now I have to talk about it. But just trying to have that moment where you're sharing things with each other is a really big deal. It's not something to be taken lightly. Anytime somebody's opening up to you, even if it doesn't seem like something that's big to you, it can be huge to the other person. So make sure that you're not minimizing their feelings. It might be something, that you think is silly, but if they're sharing it with you, it's something that's important to them. Self-confidence and personal growth. Being able to grow in your relationship, them not being threatened by you advancing in your career or advancing educationally, or if you're trying to become religious or not be religious, being able to express those things, being able to grow in your own emotions and spirituality, educationally, again, all of those things, being able to make changes to yourself that you're proud of, that you feel like will help you grow as a person. You want to be able to do that in a relationship. If you're not able to grow in a relationship because of something that your partner's doing, then it's not going to be a healthy relationship. Everyone is changing and growing constantly. Everyone always is trying to improve themselves, I think, in a lot of different ways. And if you find yourself unable to do those things, then that's something to take a step back and look at, okay, why am I unable to grow in this relationship? And see, if it's your partner, if you feel like they're not okay with you making more money than them or doing an activity without them, what is it that's holding you back from doing what's going to help you grow? Shared power. This means sharing who makes the decisions, being able to compromise and be fair with your decision making. You're not always going to agree on everything in a relationship, but being able to listen to each other and problem solve through that, making sure that you're both are able to have the opportunity to be heard, and be respected when you're heard, is really big. Communication, again, a lot of these things overlap. Making sure that you're clear, that you're able to express what you need. If your partner tells you something that they need to hear from you, whether it's they need to hear that you made it to work okay because they're worried about you not making it to work, and saying, okay, I made it to work, and making sure you're following through and texting them. And it can be hard to distinguish kind of healthy and unhealthy with that. If someone's trying to constantly know where you're at, that's something that's going to be unhealthy. But if they're checking in on you, they're trying to be genuine, that's something that's healthy. That's something that you can discuss and feel like, okay, is this something that I feel comfortable doing? And it might be that your partner really wants to know that you're okay and you feel like you just don't feel comfortable telling them where you're at all the time. Then they need to be able to respect that. You can listen to their perspective. You can say, okay, I understand that you're worried about me, but I don't feel comfortable sharing where I'm at all times. And you can say, okay, a compromise with that situation could be, okay, I'm okay right now, or saying, oh, I'm in a safe place, and just not going any further than that. That way they know that you're safe, that you're okay, but you're also not having to share every detail of where you're at or what you're doing. because you should never have to share all of those things with someone. Again, compromise and fairness, being able to make those decisions together, to be able to sacrifice yourself some and also have them sacrifice themselves. Every relationship is about that compromise, because you're definitely not going to agree about everything, but finding that mutual ground where you can both listen to each other and respect each other and make a decision that's going to be the best that it can be for both of you. If there's children involved, then of course also the decision that's going to be best for your children. And that can look different for everyone. Fighting fair. Again, making sure you're not using insults for people. You know, I know sometimes when you get heated and you're in the moment, sometimes people feel like saying the meanest thing they can think of in that moment, but it's really important to show your partner respect and to not throw insults at them, to not call them names, to not bully at them, to swear at them, and to be, you know, genuine about your fights. You know, talk about why you're upset and what you're upset about with the situation. Because when you're arguing with somebody that you care about, it should never be about your lack of respect for them. It should be about your anger at what's causing the situation. You know, you don't want your anger to be directed at your partner. You want it to be directed at the situation. So it's important to take that step back and pause and say, okay, what am I really upset about right now? I'm not upset, you know, that the car got wrecked, that she wrecked the car. I'm upset that the car is damaged and now like I have to pay for the car, you know, to get fixed. And you don't want to be blaming her, you know, even if it is their fault. You know, you want to show them respect and say, okay, I'm glad you're okay. You know, I'm upset that we're having to go through this. I'm upset that we're having to deal with this, but what happened wasn't your fault. And just being able to take that step back, and listen to each other and say, you know what, it's okay. We'll figure this out together. You know, we'll get through it together. And not, you know, bullying someone because of something that happened. Because at the end of the day, when you're in a relationship, you know, you care about that person, you love them unconditionally, and you don't want to be attacking them. You just want to be working through the situation together. Problem solving, like I said, a lot of these have that overlap, but just working together to figure things out. Every situation, you know, no matter what caused it, you have to work through it together. You have to take that moment to pause and think about what's going to be the best solution for your relationship, what's going to be the best solution for your children, your pets, your family, your work environment, whatever the case may be, but taking that moment and working out things together. It's really important that when somebody opens up to you, that you're giving them a positive experience. If somebody opens up to you for the first time and you treat them really negatively, you act like you don't believe them, you try to minimize their feelings, even if none of that's intentional, if that's their first reaction they've ever had to someone sharing their story with you, they're going to have a really hard time opening up again, and they're going to have a hard time receiving the services and support that they deserve. Everyone deserves to feel supported and heard. Everyone deserves to be able to get the services that they need to succeed in life and to feel better. We always want our survivors to end every phone call with us, every conversation with us, feeling supported, feeling heard, and knowing that they're not alone, because they're not. You know, we're available 24/7, of course, every day of the year. We're always available to talk. And when you can, you know, if someone opens up to you, let them know that you're there for them, if that's something that you feel comfortable with. If you feel like, you know what, I'm not the best person to support them, then refer them to us, refer them to another community resource, but let them know that there are options for them, that they do have a support system, that they're not alone. Thank them for trusting you, because it's really scary to open up to somebody for the first time. And even if it's not their first time sharing their story with someone, it's still scary. Every single time you open up and you tell everyone what's going on, you have that moment of being really vulnerable. And it's not something that everyone should be ashamed about. You know, you want them to be proud that they opened up to you. I'm very proud of every survivor that opens up to me, because I know how difficult it can be. And I'm honored when people share their stories with me, because I know how difficult it can be, and I can appreciate those feelings. So just letting them know that you are proud of them, that you're glad that they told you, that you're glad that they're trying to get resources and help, and just let them know that it's not their fault. I think that's something that can be forgotten sometimes. I think sometimes when you meet a survivor that's told their story a lot of times, I think sometimes people forget to still tell them that what happened to them isn't their fault, and that what they're going through isn't their fault. Because a lot of people think to themselves, oh, well, they've probably already heard that, or they know, but it's not their fault. But really reinforcing those things with every conversation you have with somebody, letting them know that you believe them, that what happened to them wasn't their fault. Those are two of the most important things that you can ever tell a survivor. And it's important to reinforce those things so that they don't feel alone, so that they're able to feel supported, and able to just keep on getting the resources that they need. Because if you don't feel supported and you don't have that environment where you feel safe, it's really hard to get support. And so it's hard to grow your support system without having, that first initial person that's there for you. Let them know that you want them to be safe. If someone's coming to you with a concern at their workplace, they're worried about their abuser showing up, they're worried about their abuser calling you, address those things. See what you can do to help them feel safe. It could be walking out with them to their car. It could be letting them know that you won't share anything about like their work schedule with that person if they call, and it could just simply be as simple as, okay, I just want to let you know that I'm here for you, that if you're overwhelmed, you're scared and you want to talk, my office is open, my door is open, you can always come talk to me, those sorts of things. And with friendships, just letting them know that you're always available, that you're available to talk to them, to let them know what's going on. And then ask them how you can support them. I think it's really hard to kind of put a label on the exact thing that everyone should do, to help a survivor, because everyone's situation is different. Everyone's going through different things on their own. Everyone handles things differently and uses different coping skills. But letting them know that regardless of what's going on, they're always there to share. You're always there to share as much or as little as they feel comfortable doing. And just saying, I don't know the right thing to say. That's okay. You can say, I don't know how to help you, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. Letting them know that you'll figure it out with them, that you'll help them, get the resources they need. And it's okay to acknowledge that you don't know everything, that you don't know the answer to a problem in that moment. We don't always know the answer either here at Quigley House, but it's important to meet with that survivor and let them know, okay, you know what, I don't know this right now, but I'm going to figure it out with you. You're not going through this alone. I'm going to help figure out the steps to take with you. And that's so important, because even if you can't solve everything, because oftentimes we can't solve everything, but letting them know that they're not going through it alone and that you're going to work through it with them. And then also be ready to find alternatives. If you can't fix the problem in the way that you want to, or that would be best for the situation, then trying to find something else that can happen. A lot of times with survivors, the perpetrators don't always face jail time, and they don't always get their injunctions for protections approved and things like that. And it can feel really devastating when you lose those things that you feel like will be the best solution to your problem. But just letting them know that you're there for them to help them out. And even though things aren't going the way that they want them to, that you're still there to support them, and to help them find new ways to feel safe outside of that. And of course, if there's something specific going on, if anyone, you can always refer them to our hotline, and we can do kind of situational safety planning. I want to talk about February, which is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Orange Day is February 9th. So on February 9th, we encourage everyone to wear orange in support of teen dating violence awareness. And then on February 12th, we're going to be doing a Love Yourself event. It will be posted on our website. Throughout the day, we're going to have different self-care activities, different things that you can use as healthy coping skills. Someone else coming in. Different ways to use healthy coping skills. characteristics, again, of healthy and unhealthy relationships. We're going to be going over all of that. But it's going to be just kind of a fun day to celebrate loving yourself. I know with Valentine's Day coming up, it can be really difficult for a lot of survivors that are leaving an abusive relationship or are currently in an abusive relationship, and having that moment where they can take a step back and love themselves, even if they're not getting that love from their partner, or take time to look at Valentine's Day as something that's positive and something that can be just about caring for themselves, being proud of themselves and the work that they've done, and just having that moment to practice self-care. We're also doing a motorcycle poker run on February 20th. Kickstands up at 11. We're going to be starting at the courthouse in Clay County, and we're going to be finishing it at Whitey's. After the event, participants will get discounts on appetizers and drinks. So there's definitely a good fundraiser there if anyone would like to attend. We also are going to be doing a self-care workshop every week during the month of February. Again, this is to promote teen dating violence awareness, but they're geared towards everyone. We're going to have crafts, we're going to do yoga classes, meditation. They're all going to be done virtually through Zoom, and they'll also be posted online so you can participate in them afterwards if you're unable to attend during the actual live event. And of course, we are still figuring out all of the details as far as dates, so please check our website, which is www.quigleyhouse.org for more details about our upcoming events. And I just want to finish up with some of our current needs. Of course, with COVID, everyone's trying to get cleaning supplies and different things that we can use for sanitizing. Of course, our participant safety is always our utmost priority, and that includes making sure that our areas are sanitized and clean. We definitely still need cleaning supplies. Everyone is having a difficulty getting them right now, but if you are aware of some and you can get some and donate them, we always appreciate that. Twin size bedding is what we use for our shelter beds. We particularly need blankets right now, mostly twin size blankets. A lot of the blankets we have aren't big enough to cover the beds, and so it's really difficult, especially with winter, for survivors to stay warm without, having those full-size blankets. And again, all types of bedding. Here at the Sexual Assault Center, sometimes survivors don't have their bedding when they file a report because the police take it, and we want to make sure that we're able to replace that bedding for them, so when they go home after an exam or after meeting with us, they still have that safe environment at home. They're able to have, something to sleep in and not just, be on their mattress. And if you're unable to donate, of course, we always understand. If you can, please share our needs on social media, share about our upcoming events. All of those things are always so appreciated. And we're very proud to be a part of such a supportive community. We're very grateful that we have always had the opportunity to do so much community engagement with our partners. And we've had some amazing donors and volunteers throughout the past year who have always been there to help us with our needs, even if they can't contribute monetarily, with time, with social media posts. All of those things are equally valuable for us, and we greatly appreciate them. And of course, this is our hotline number. You can always call us anytime, even if you're not, calling for yourself. You can always call for a survivor. You can find out different techniques, different support systems that you can offer them. I think it can be really intimidating for a survivor to call, sometimes by themselves, or call for the first time. So you can always call, let them know kind of what your experience was like calling the helpline, and letting them know that, this is how the hotline works, or these are some resources that Quigley House has to offer. These are some of the programs that Quigley House offers, or just sitting with them while they call can be a really big deal, and just letting them know that you're there and that they're not having to call by themselves. Those are all different things that we can use the hotline for. I want to open it up for questions. If anyone has any questions, either about power and control or about upcoming events. Does anyone have any questions? And if you guys have any questions you don't feel comfortable sharing in the chat box or on Zoom, you can always call our hotline and ask them as well. We're always available to answer any questions or address any concerns you may have. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate you guys coming out today and showing your support by being here. It means a great deal to us.
You're welcome. We invited some sexual assault victim advocates from the base, and I have 2 on here, so I'm glad they were able to engage. I'm actually on FaceTime with one of them because she couldn't get in, but it was good information.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And of course, thank you guys for always collaborating with us when we've needed to work together on something.
Thank you for all that you guys do.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yes, I've been in the car, so that's why I don't have my camera on. I'm trying to just listen. But we will look out for some. I didn't realize about that, about you all needing twin bedding for the Raid Care Center. So that's good information to know when people give us that.
Yeah, definitely. We would definitely appreciate it. I think that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, of course you can call the hotline. I'll also go ahead and put my email in the chat box. And if anyone has anything that they want to discuss with me, you definitely can. I know there's a lot of sexual assault advocates as well on the call. So if anyone needs to reach out to me for any reason, you can definitely reach me through my email. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Avery.
And I just put my email in the chat box if anyone